This is FM 2.0 with the Don, Dean, Stormy, and the Grizz. Forever music, music, music.
When I understood how the Soulmates have developed through the years, I was so impressed with not only the fact that incredible musicians come together from several countries around the world. They come together and they perform concerts in many different places, and they've been doing this for 2.5 decades. Just incredible. And the Soulmates are about bringing music from around the world to the world and carrying the message of freedom and unity through culture to many, many people around the world. And that's really the power of music. Thanks.
A dreamer's not a fool, I'm just a dreamer, breaking every rule. I come from the wild side. A dreamer's not a fool, I made the rainbow, just believe the true lie. A dreamer's not a fool, I'm just a dreamer, breaking every rule. I come from the wild side. A dreamer's not a fool, I made the rainbow. I was dying in your arms tonight. Must have been some mistake. I was dying in your arms tonight. I should have walked away. Oh yeah, I should have walked away.
Mandoki is a strange man. I mean, he's I don't know anybody else in the world that can pull this off. You know, I don't see this happening in America, where there's more money and there's more opportunities probably to do this kind of thing. But he has this ability to get together, you know, big names from the past, and they love it and they want to do it, and it works.
Leslie Mandoki will always be in the middle here because he's the one that really brought us all together and united this group. It's such a wonderful feeling that he's put together this eclectic musical operation, a musical snapshot of the whole industry. You know, it's just got a little bit of everything.
I would like to tell you one thing. You are such a wonderful audience. You make us feel like this is heaven. And I would like to introduce you to the god of this concert, Leslie Mandoki.
Well, he's a guy that pulls everyone together. He's got to be really strong, and he's got to be very far thinking. It's nice to relax under the umbrella of Leslie. He's like a big umbrella getting everyone inside. So
My band drummers, bummers, Indians in the summer with the teenage still I'm mad. In the talks were the notes as the adolescent punks this way into his head. With a boulder on my shoulder, feeling kind of older, I tripped the merry-go-round. With its very unpleasing season and wheezing, the Goliath crashed to the ground. I see. Another room in the night, blinded by the light.
When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, a miracle. Oh, it was beautiful, magical. All the birds in the trees, they'd be singing so happily, joyfully, oh, faithfully watching me. Then they sent me away. How to be sensible, logical, oh,
And there it is.
Wow.
A little montage of Leslie Mandoki. I could tell you, Leslie, just watching all this and knowing it's 40 years, it's just an honor to have you with what you've surrounded yourself by and the community you're building. This is what really our MO and our mantra is to build the community, unite everyone through music. You're doing the same thing for 40 years. So thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. This is a great honor, chaps, and it's a wonderful moment of life that we can talk about a new album.
Yes.
Leslie, real quick, because I definitely want to talk about the new album, but was Nick correct? I mean, obviously you've brought American musicians together, but was he correct when he said it'd probably be more difficult to pull this off in America?
I don't really know because I'm an American by heart, but I raised behind the Iron Curtain, and I'll give you the correct answer if I describe you. I was 22, and I escaped through a tunnel of this Russian-oriented, horrible Eastern Bloc behind the Iron Curtain, and music was for us meaning freedom. And if you had a seventh generation mono tape copy of a Jethro Tull album, you were just the king. And I had an imagination that I would like to merge British prog rock, so let's say represented by Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull, with American fusion jazz, let's say represented by Al Di Meola. This was the idea. And my teenage band was playing that kind of music, so a bit more virtuoso than the British prog rock, but that intellectual, lyrical, and complexity. And as we escaped through the tunnel, and I was touching down in the central refugee camp of Germany, and the CIA was controlling that camp, and the officer was asking me, he said, "Boy, I really understand that you wanted to escape communism. I mean, it's great in you that you made it. But what the hell are you going to do now in the freedom? Because I really want to know." And he was just writing it down in my application form for asylum. And I said, "I would like to start a band with Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull, with Jack Bruce of Cream, and with Al Di Meola." Wow. He said, yeah, I mean, it was 75. So these guys were just playing in stadiums. And that's amazing. And the CIA guy was just wrote it down, so okay. And he was just turning to my dearest friend who was sitting next to me. His name is Gabor Chupo. And he said, "And what the hell are you going to do?" He said, "I'm a cartoonist. I'm a movie maker. I'm just a cartoonist. But I'm not going to do here in Germany anything. I'm going to go to Hollywood, and I start with something, I have ideas." And so his first success was Simpsons, and then Rugrats. So he has 2 stars on Hollywood Boulevard. So we both guys are sitting in the front of the CIA guy and telling, this is what we are going to do. And so it took a little while, but we actually we took that way. So that was the idea. And this was based on a very sad moment, maybe the saddest moment of my life. As I was 16, my father died. He lost his fight against cancer. And he said on his deathbed, actually, "Boy, you have to promise me something." He was very American-minded. He never been in America. He was living his life behind the Iron Curtain. And he said, "You have to promise me something, boy, that my grandchildren are never going to meet in my life, never have to read censored papers." And I said, "Dad, but there is the Iron Curtain." And he said, "There's nothing for you. You have to find your way, and you have to live your dreams and don't dream your life." So I said that to the officer as I was 22. My father said that on his deathbed. I should live my dreams. I should not dream my life. And my vision is to start the band with Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull and Jack Bruce of Cream and Al Di Meola. And he said, "Okay, boy, good luck."
Well, that's one, incredibly moving. Two, perfect segue into the album, because that's what you've got here, which I got to share. When I got this, and I'm not kidding, Chip will verify this. I think I was probably 30 seconds into the album when I had to run to my computer, and I sent Chip an email going, "Oh my God, this could very well be my favorite album of 2024. This album." I'll share with you, I have become bored with so much music over the years, and I didn't realize till just lately how bored I've become. This is one of probably 2 albums in the last 20 years I've been so excited about. Whenever anybody comes over to my house, I'm like, "Hey, you guys got to listen to this." And I put it down and I play it for them. This weekend, I think I ran through it 3 times continuously, nonstop for one person.
Wow. Thank you so much. It's touching me, really. Thank you so much.
Well, that's a big segue. I wanted to play a clip of the song "Blood in the Water," which this basically kicks off the album. And when we come back from this clip, I want to think about the thought process of most artists that I know put albums in a track order for a reason. And this kicks off the album. So I'm going to play this clip here and then we'll talk about it. This is Blood in the Water.
Welcome to the last show. Find out what you don't want to know. Greedy shorty, big reset. Tick your talk and buff your glow. And the sharks are hungry, and the water is deep. They're out for me, because I'm a black sheep. Freedom is ringing, freedom is singing, but a compass is lost, directions crossed. And in these trying times, truth is hard to find. You're blind to the reason and the freedom of a free mind.
The freedom of a free mind is a line that resonated with me because even though we live in a free society, there are still people at play trying to push narratives all over the place and censoring things. You know, that was one of the things you said behind the Iron Curtain about freedom of speech, you know, being able to say or not get censored. And yet we live in a world where censorship has become a thing, even in a free world. It's kind of a scary thing. And so when Blood in the Water starts off the album, is that really what you want to do, is set the tone of the album with that song to set the pace? Is that why it's track one?
Yes, absolutely. Because we are living in from my reception, we are living in a labyrinth of crisis, and the compass is lost. You know, and we are somehow children of Woodstock. So we learned the lesson that music could be the greatest unifier. And we have a responsibility, because rock music and rock musicians have a great responsibility, because unlike to movie makers or writers and poets or painters, we have a very direct emotional contact to our people. You know, you write a song and next day you're on a stage and you go to your studio and record it. And I think we are in a kind of in this tunnel, what you were describing very precisely, that we are living in a free society, but somehow we lost it in a way. And this album is about, you know, that's why, say for instance, in the big quit, I'm singing about hard times create hard people create easy times creating easy people, and easy people create hard times again. And that's where we are, actually.
Oh my goodness, that's
yes.
perfect. That's exactly it right there. You nailed it.
Yeah. And the whole album is about this crazy situation. We are in a dark tunnel, and we musicians have to hold the torch at the end of the tunnel to light it up. So the black swan on the cover shall be white again on some stage, you know. So and that's what you know. This I painted this black swan for as a symbol of where we are at right now. But we have to get out of this tunnel, and we have to repaint the swan to white again.
You know, it's really interesting the way you produce the album. There's incredible phrasing, lyrics in every song, very deep lyrics that say something. I mean, one of my favorites is actually, and it's so true, social media is the devil's encyclopedia. But it doesn't matter, and I've played this album for people who I know are on different extremes of the political spectrum, but they all love it because the way you present it is not attacking. You do it in an artful way that just causes people to think, and regardless of where some of these people stand, they find an ability to relate to it, and I think that's what's incredible about this album.
Thank you so much. It's actually, that was the idea, you know, to build bridges, to work on what is common, you know, what is uniting us, you know. This is so easy to spread news, but what is separating us, you know, what makes us to be an enemy, you know. And if someone like me, was born and raised in the communist times. It was horrible, chaps. It was this Russian depression and the ideology, from North Korea to Cuba to live in the under this censorship and this central leadership. Even what kind of music we are listening to, it was told by Moscow. And just to put a little smile on your face, Mikhail Gorbachev was visiting me way after he was out of office because he asked me for a charity project. And he was in my studio. And so I really was asking him about, because he said, okay, Henry Kissinger was, I got an award for working against communism. And I always said that we gonna bring rock music, gonna bring down the Iron Curtain and the wall in Berlin. And so Gorbachev came here and we were discussing, and I said, okay. And he was telling me that as he wanted to prove that glasnost and perestroika is truth, I mean, he means it like he's saying, then it was the first thing that he was buying for 1 million copies, the license of Jethro Tull album. And because he was proving that Jethro Tull is going to be allowed in the Soviet Union. That was the proof that the war will come down. That's how much meaning it was in Eastern Bloc. It was so important. Music was so because Stalin and Hitler agreed on it that they have to kill everything what is free. So jazz was the enemy, because back then jazz was the free mind. So later on, as prog rock and jazz fusion became the soundtrack of free mind, it was totally killed in the Eastern Hemisphere. And maybe you in America didn't realize that how much was how meaningful it was for us behind the Iron Curtain, but it was. So that's why it's so important. I have a huge responsibility now to point out that the freedom is not self-explainingly naturally comes. We have to keep this fire, this original American idea of individual freedom, and we should not enter into this total division, where we are right now. And so this album was born to unite us again on based on human values, what made us who we are. These are the teachings of Woodstock. And to find the right harmony, to find the right lyrics, find the right lyrics. And that's why it's an analog album. Why? Because analog recording is like a handwritten letter. It's not like a text message. Because the whole art takes place while during the recording and not in the post-production. And that's why it was so important that we got together in the studio. We had old tape machines, all these 2-inch tape machines in the basement. We just bring them up again, and we just maintained and restored everything and lined them up, and it was sounding so great. It was so great again to sit around the instruments, and to make a circle of musicians and to play again. And I was not writing everything precisely arranged, but I wrote down with a pencil again. I was not printing out the stuff, I was not programming anything. I was just writing it, the basics, and then we played it. And that's why you hear this also the solistical parts, the instrument parts are not like 8 bars, or 16 bar threads, but it's more kind of musical landscapes what we are trying to paint. But because this is the analog recording, this is the magic of analog. And I realized how difficult it is to travel with tapes. As I went to New York to Greg Colby, Sterling Sound for the mastering, because the huge tapes. But because I mixed it in my studio from 2-inch to not a 1/4 inch, but a 1/2 inch, high speed non-Dolby. So we just were trying to achieve the best sound aesthetic, I would say. That also in your little iPhone that you find the best sound for that message what we were trying to bring over.
I had played it for my sister a few days ago, and everything you described is what she picked up. So I didn't show her the videos. I just played the album, and what she kept commenting on was she could picture a group of musicians sitting in a room together playing, the organic nature of it. And she even picked up how there was something to it that's been missing, that she hadn't been hearing in current music. And it's that organic component. It comes across loud and clear.
Thank you so much. It's very organic. So this is the most natural way to record music, because the art and the creativity takes place during the recording and not in the post-production. That's the magic.
Don, if I could real quick, I want to step back. I'll share that my mother-in-law, she defected from North Korea. And to hear the stories and the way the family found out is we would go visit, and a lot of times I would get up before anybody else in the family, and then she would get up and we'd just sit there and chat. And one day I just asked her, tell me about your youth. And she started talking about her family meeting at a certain point. She was very young, but she was old enough to remember meeting on one side of a river, trying to go across the river. She remembers gunshots. She remembers a lot of the family didn't make it. And to hear the story, I immediately go and wake up my wife and I go, did you know your mom defected from North Korea? She goes, no, nobody in the family knew. That was the first time she started talking about it. And to hear the stories for somebody who grew up in America, things that are crazy to me, to understand that there are people that this is normal, arranged marriages, being forced into a marriage, being shot at for simply wanting an education, knowing you'll never see your family again. These are normal. And it was a real wake-up call for me that people are experiencing things even today that I could never imagine.
I mean, it's touching me to hear this, because when I was in a refugee camp, I had a lot of Korean and Vietnamese people there, the boat people. And then, this, the only thing what was made us to be a refugee is this was longing for freedom, because we loved that American idea of individual freedom of speech, and that you have the chance to fail. You have the chance to lose. That's what the CIA guys was asking me at the refugee camp. They said, boy, it's fine that you would like to play with Ian Anderson and Jake Bruce and Al Di Meola, but what's going to happen if you don't make it? I said, I will make it. And the same thing he asked Gabo Chupo, who said, the young cartoonist, he was 22 as I was 22. I said, and what about if you don't make, you cannot build a studio? So I said, don't worry about it, I will. This is actually the power to escape, from something horrible, and this is very touchy as you talk about that situation. Yes, you're coming from one side of a river to another side, and you get killed. And if you make it, that you have an incredible power to share that experience, and this album is actually not looking back, it's looking forward. So this is about our tomorrow. That's a memory of our future. That's the title, because we have to look, how can we create a world also for our children, that we can be proud one day to pass over the torch. And this whole album was born because the last album, Utopia for Realists, is ending up with a song called The Torch. It's about the old rebels like we are passing on the torch to the young rebels like my children are. And then I started up to say at our anniversary tour, 30 years of Soulmates, to say, look, we cannot pass on the torch now, because the world turned to be a mess. I mean, the world turned to upside down. We have war again in Europe. I mean, this is total crazy, and so we have to hold the hands of the young rebels, the old rebels, and try to fix it before we pass on the torch. And then somehow this is a memory of our future. This title was born actually on stage, as we were just playing, and I kept on writing. And Ian Anderson had a saying. I said, look, Leslie, I mean, we are all aging very differently, which is very true. And then Tony Carey, the fabulous Tony Carey, who became famous with Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, he said, Leslie, I really hate you. I said, look, what's up? Said, I really hate you because you've wrote now songs like Blood on the Water and Devil's Encyclopedia and Big Quit and We Stay Loud, what we normally write when we are 22 or 23 or 25. And you wrote with that energy and conviction and that rebellion in your heart. And then we decided, okay, we're going to, after the tour, we're going to get together in my studio and we bring up from the basement our old machines, and they said, Leslie, you never sell anything. So you have all your old Mini Moog, your old Hammond, your old Fender Rhodes. You have all this. So let's really and we just tuned the old Bösendorfer and we played it, and it was such a wonderful experience. I really without to all the valve, all the tube stuff, it was wonderful. I mean, it's just all this gear, and we loved it. We loved the sound of it, and it was a magical moment.
Wow. There's some thoughts I have, but I wanted to go, since Dean brought it up, and it is really poignant to where we were in this conversation. I'm going to play a little bit of Devil's Encyclopedia because that line is featured. It's right here. Let me play a little bit of this.
Fortune pays the both who can, but burying prayers I never fail. A designated survivor who's never been a 9-to-5er. Social media becomes a devil's encyclopedia. Social media becomes a devil's encyclopedia. People like us against totality. Courage is calling for people like us in a quest for reality. Courage is calling for people like us against brutality. Courage is calling for people like us, for people like us.
Yeah.
Well, the thing, that line about, social media is the devil's encyclopedia. I think Dean had touched on that earlier. And I think that there's pros and cons to having so much information, is that what comes with true information is misinformation. And sometimes the misinformation overwhelms the true message, right? And then that's what causes all this division, chaos. No one knows what to believe anymore. And, to the fact where, if you went down to Miami and all those people that defected Castro, the vast majority of generations that talk about it say, hell no, do we ever want communism here, right? They escaped communism, come to Florida. Yet you got some people that go, yeah, let's do it here. And it blows my mind after what you're talking about here is, communism is essentially just giving up every right to a few select people at the top to control everything. And then that control becomes fear, because what do people up above hate? A united people, because then they have no power. They take that all away to control you. And so, you coming from behind an iron curtain, and I think that's where the youth are so manipulated right now, is they think that communism is a glamorous thing. And it's not. It's the furthest thing from glamour. And I'm glad you're here, especially on today that we're recording this is our Memorial Day here in the United States, where a lot of soldiers fought to keep freedom and died doing it. To want to bring in something that takes that all away is just insanity of how misinformation and manipulation can think. So I'm glad you're here to kind of talk about how bad communism can be to people.
I mean, this is touching me really, really deeply to having the chance. And thank you for having me for that, to talk about this, because freedom is not organically grown in every garden and in every backyard. We have to maintain that. We have to protect that, because this division, what we have in a society, is dangerous. We have to bridge over this, and we really have to be clear. That, and especially when we videotaping is in the Memorial Day, that remember to the heroes. They were, in Germany, we're celebrating the American Memorial Day with a very interesting movie tonight about the D-Day. It was where American soldiers give their life to free Europe.
Storming Normandy on that day.
Yeah,
All those men that Saving Private Ryan was a good kind of illustration of what that was like when they dropped the door on that boat, and you're just a target.
Yeah.
And yet some of those men got through that, and if not for that, they would not have taken over Normandy and kind of changed the tide. It took that sacrifice. So I'm glad you pointed that out.
Absolutely, it took that sacrifice, and we know that the Nazis were just committing a break of civilization. They broke with every basic rule of humankind, and the communists kept on to do that. So it was, this is the craziness of history, that they were united for the moment against the Nazis, but as soon as the Nazis lost everything, thanks God and thanks to American and British soldiers, that they're really risking everything and giving their life for that and sacrifice. So and the communists turned to be the same way. It was horrible. And believe me, I'm one of these little kids. I was 3.5 years old as the 56th Hungarian revolution against the Russians. So I've been there as 3 students died in our apartment. Of course I couldn't see them because my father was taking me to the kids' room. But to die is a horrible thing. And my father was taking one of these guns and went down to fight the Russians and Russian tanks and throw Molotov cocktails on Russian tanks also. So I've really been through this, and so that's what gives me the energy to make an analog album, a pure analog album, to say as a warning sign, people, hey, watch out for freedom. I mean, we have to stand up for that. That's what it's about, a memory of our future. We should remember one day that we did our utmost best to bridge over this division and keep this longing for freedom alive.
Yeah, the album makes that clear.
Wow.
I could just go on and on. This is an incredible album. It really is.
If you don't mind, can I feature 2 more tracks from this album that really hit me? Or do you have to?
Thank you so much.
Do you have to go, Leslie? Do you have a little bit of time?
No, I have all the time for you. No.
The song "Enigma of Reason," which is track 2. This is. I think Dean put it best, right? This album is an experience. There's some albums you throw on and they're passive, and you kind of. This is the kind of album back in the day where you put the headphones on, lay in bed, and you just play it and escape, right? It's that progressive thing that just takes you on a journey. When I got to Enigma or Reason, that was one of those moments where you start floating in a certain sense. And there's this clip I want to play right here out of Enigma or Reason, and we'll talk about it. I love this part of the song.
These glasses are dark, so dark. The wolf pack howling and sings the contrarian anthem of lust. Souls growling, walking on hot coals, feeling nothing but cold from my feet. I didn't know what I needed, just what I wanted. Our innocent dreams are painfully dated.
I thought, and then it flows into that part. There's a little bit of harmonies, those harmonies in there. You got the lower register and the way it blends so nicely, and the harmonies really stood out to me on that.
Thank you for pointing this out. It was so organically, naturally was just the flow, sitting together, and we were not constructing this. It was so that this is a natural flow. This whole album was pretty much written by life. We could really feel, and it was also recorded by us in a way that the most organic and natural flow as recording can take place. So everything was all the little melodies and all the little collective soloistical moments, like we were just playing it. They were just falling in so naturally, organically in place. It was, if you would ask me how long I was taking it to mix, it was the shortest mixing period of my life, because you opened up the 24 tracks and everything was in place. So it is not that you would, but normally in the pop music today, you have a lot to come because you have 25 guitar solos. I had one, because the limitation of analog gives you a totally different freedom, because all of a sudden you don't have 25 the guitar solos, you have only one. And the real one, the natural one, the organic one, what was happening during that collective recording. And the same goes for bass and everything. So it was everything was just right in the pocket as we were doing this analog recording.
Don and I talk a lot about the development of artificial intelligence within music and how it's being used and the concerns that we have. And I recognize AI is in an infancy state. It's like a little baby. It's a toddler right now, so it has to go through its own learning. But one of the things that I'm always worried about that's so evident in this album is AI can replicate lyrics. It can try to imitate something. It can make thought-provoking statements, but it has no fears of its own, no life experience of its own wants of its own. And these lyrics on this album, you can tell these lyrics are coming from a place of life, fear, wants for the next generation, experiences that AI, as of right now, maybe someday, but as of right now, don't have. And that's one of the big differences between the analog and the human experience versus a computer.
Absolutely. I mean, and we were just experimenting with AI, and we came to the exactly same result as you do. We wanted to know what kind of dangerous situation is above. And the answer is analog. And ask any lady or any girl, in any age, So how would you like to have your love letter? With a handwritten or rather a text message? And you won't find any of the ladies or the girls to say, to send me a text message. Yeah, everybody would appreciate to have a handwritten love letter, and this is life, And this is a handwritten love letter. Don, we lost you.
Nothing like a handwritten letter from somebody.
We're losing you, Don. No. You're popping in and then disappeared again. But you're hearing us okay?
I can hear you fine.
Oh, there you are.
No, you're back, Don. So you're gone again.
Now you're gone again. Nothing. Nothing. Nope. Yeah, we've lost you.
That's weird.
Oh, now you're back.
Yeah, I know.
Hey.
It's temporary. I wonder if it's temporary. What did I do?
Oh, but now we are fine. Now it's.
Oh,
back.
yeah. I don't know what happened. All right. Is it still going?
Yep.
No,
You're
it's
good.
it's going. You're good.
Okay.
So we were stopping at the love letter. So I said,
Yeah. So I was just going to say to you that I think that's one of the best illustrations I've ever heard of describing the difference between the human and the AI. Is there is nothing more authentic from the heart than a handwritten letter with a pen and paper that a text cannot do, or even a typewritten letter can't do. There's handwritten is so much more authentic, and I think that's a great example. You can't replicate handwritten.
Yeah.
And that's what we were trying to achieve, to write to our audience worldwide, also to, it's virtually our first American record after 31 years of Soulmates, and our first real touchdown in America. And, that was, the idea was to write a handwritten letter to our audience. So to look, we are in a challenging, trying times. So, so we are here for you. Look, in my age, I have about 72 gold records on my wall. I'm so
That's
thankful
it? That's all you have is 72? Come on.
and I'm so thankful to the audience that giving me the chance to live the life to give me that liberty to make this album, and my voice is only as loud as the audience is allowing us. This is their voice. And this is my responsibility to give. This is time to give back. It's a payback time, and because the times are so trying, because of this division, because of the AI, and because of social media, and we are in war in Europe. Hey, come on! I mean, this is such a disaster we are, and I'm trying to, for the very European. Let's say we are recording now in a Memorial Day. So in Europe, from the European point of view, that to bring it over to you to America, that 89 was raining luck and beauty from the sky. I mean, the wall came down in Berlin. Mr. Gorbachev opened the gate and turned down the wall.
Yeah, exactly. Tear down these walls. Yes, I remember that.
And what he did it. He was tearing down the wall, and he opened that gate. And it's not one person was killed. It was absolutely, a peaceful revolution. Was, all this Cold War where you were spending all this horrible money on both sides, and all of a sudden we could have built a most human society ever. Most peaceful, and unfortunately we are not doing it. So this analog album is just the revenge of analog, with this handwritten love letter. That, hey guys, I mean, let's watch out, because one day we have to stand for our, in front of our kids and say, hey, we were trying to do our very best, but are we really doing any good? Is it really, we were listening to albums, we were reading books, we were going to, we were growing up with the teachings of Woodstock, so we have to live up to that. And holding that torch, and this is about this album, to give something to the people.
Right. Well. I mean, everything you've done in your career, in your life. I mean, it all started with that day you were talking about the CIA, and I keep thinking, you talk about putting things out in the universe. You say, yeah, I'm going to be working with Ian Anderson. I mean, you're a kid coming to a country, and guess what? You wind up working. That's called putting it out in the universe, and then it comes to fruition. That is, that's incredible. That is absolutely incredible.
I'll share one.
Go ahead, Dean.
I was going to say, I'll share one more story from my first experience with this album. Absolute truth. My 28-year-old daughter was in the house when I first put it on. And I think by the third song, she had come out and was standing at the top of the stairs by the railing, and she just stood there listening to it. Eventually, she came down and started flipping through the album, but she's a musician herself. But it pulled her out. She stood there having to listen to the whole album with me, and since then has even said that's the kind of band that she wants to be part of.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's just touching me.
So it's moved me in my 50s. It's moved her in her 20s.
Look at that, huh?
Thank you. So that's moving me. And let me share with you this little one, because you were just sharing with us now the little story with your daughter, about my daughter. She's a great musician too. And so I wrote that song, Matchbox Racing. and this is it's about the deathbed of my father. The saying that, hey, don't dream your life or live your dreams, and it's about this uprising against the Russians, 56, and the sister of my mom became American. He left with Americans, and she was sending me, as I was maybe 9 years old, 3 Matchbox cars. It's little cars, and with a postcard from LA, and it was showing the in LAX the parking lot with all these cars, and it was the times as in the communist era you were not allowed to have a car. So it's not that you couldn't buy anyway, but even if you could buy it, you were supposed not. It was illegal to own a real estate or a car or anything, because everything was social. So I got these 3 little Matchbox cars, 9 years old, and having this postcard from LA with the LAX with all these hundreds of beautiful 50s American cars.
Right.
And it was meaning, maybe this is a smile on your face, but this is meaning freedom for me. And I was playing with these little cars as I was 9 and 10, and made a little Matchbox racing. And this song is about that how it was, with a little boy of 9 years old behind the Iron Curtain to play with this and always looking at with this Matchbox cars and make a little race with the Matchbox cars and look into those postcards from LA. So this is, America maybe should relearn how meaningful you are for the world.
Yeah. It's a great point. And I think that's what I want to use even this conversation we're having to do. I think from this, we could use features to kind of show people that how much, like if you went to South Korea, I bet you South Koreans are more American than a lot of Americans right now. Because of what happened with keeping them away from North Korea.
Absolutely.
You always hear it and you always see it that they're so grateful for it. Yeah, I'm tired of all the bashing and all the negativity, and this is something that is so needed. And I did want to conclude on this. Another song of yours on this album that really stood out to me is A Memory of My Future. I love this song. Can you still hear me?
Of course. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I want to play a clip. I want to play this clip here just as the last track to feature, because I love the little video that was put together for it too. Here's this song right here.
And I take it to memory of the future. Memory of the future.
I mean, that section right there, I've got elicits goosebumps up and down my arm. You got flamenco, you've got Spanish vibes, you got Middle Eastern vibes, you've got Indian vibes, you got like I said, flamenco, like that salsa kind of dancing that, and Sade. There's like even a hint of Sade in it. That song is so beautiful. That part right there with her doing the makeup in it, it was just, it's perfection. That whole little section right there. Just had to call it up.
Thank you so much. You hear singing my daughter, and this is just touching because this is actually the song of the album in the way that the title melody. Although I would not say that any of the moments of this album is more important than the other, this is just an entirety. It's the 80 minutes. So, and I'm incredibly thankful to hear that in times where the shortest attention spans are destroying our life, and then you both are just giving me the hope and the belief that music can give us back, that we can spend time on something, to understand and to feel, and as just you mentioned that your daughter broke down the stairs. Okay, this is an album. This is a verse to listen to, and longer than 20 seconds. And it's just thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Especially when we videotaping this is on a Memorial Day, that means a lot to me, because we should think that of this in a very special. This is just not a day off. Let's remember to these folks that they were so actually they give the most precious what they could give and sacrifice and for our freedom, and that's what we should really rethink our steps in life from tomorrow on, where we pay tribute to division, which goes by so and social media is amplifying the division in many ways, and so let's live up to those heroes that they sacrifice, and especially these days when we are recording it. And a memory of our future should mean also that one day we should really trying to live in a way that we can be proud of the world, but we one day will hand over to our children.
Yes. Can I just say that one concept that we're looking to do is something we deemed song tasting, which is we play an album and people listen and they take notes of what they hear. Because Dean one time was talking to artists. He goes, I hear hints of this and I hear that, like a wine tasting. And I said, we're going to do a song tasting where we put that album on and let people take notes. I think this is the perfect album to have a listening party and have people write down as they're sipping on wine and writing down notes what they're hearing in the record. Like I heard just in that little section, all these hints of things. We did that to your entire album. That would be a fun listening party. So if you were up for that, like in the future, near future, we could arrange something where we're doing that and taking notes and maybe a little commentary from you. Just an idea.
Wonderful. I'm more than happy to be part of it. So please. Yeah. I mean, really. I mean, hopefully you have my email address, or otherwise Chip will give it to you. And so thank you so much, because I would be more than happy to be real part of it.
Before you go, my daughter literally just texted me. She wanted to make sure I passed along to her. Thank you for creating a wonderful album. She loves Melting Pot. That is her favorite track. She said it just moves her deeply, but she wanted me to pass along. Thank you.
Thank you so much. But let me share with you the story of Melting Pot. So we're facing the fact that we said, okay, if you're lucky, then people may gonna listen to the 80 minutes, but we had only about 73. And, knowing how long a CD, the capacity and the double vinyl. And and I don't know who was asking, but someone was asking, so Leslie, you have one more, because let's finishing up with something beautiful. And I said, I have one theme, just a theme, and then what you hear is a full improvised piece of music. So I just had a theme, what you hear, and then we just sat around us and then we just played. And it was just unfolding in a way, in this organic, natural way, and we have something common, because my little daughter who wrote the music for Matchbox Racing, this is also her favorite. She said, Dad, you guys were just crazy doing this, but it was just recorded as this, as one take. As it was the last take before the album was finished.
Wonderful.
Wow. Well.